Governor Jay Inslee extending Washington's COVID-19 restrictions on gatherings, restaurants, and gyms through January. We'll hear from a local restaurant owner.
That's why it was kind of odd. I didn't expect all of that to hit me.
Plus, we hear from a local business owner who battled coronavirus, all while trying to keep her company afloat, and now trying to get back to a somewhat regular schedule.
Rain moving through Washington tonight, but with temperatures so cold, I'm tracking if that could eventually fall as freezing rain through the Wednesday morning hours.
This is because we remain concerned about COVID activity, and we still do not have a clear picture of the situation following the Thanksgiving weekend.
Existing restrictions in Washington state have been extended by the governor through the holidays, and as those get underway, more economic relief is available for businesses. And good evening, everyone. Thanks for being here tonight. I'm Regina on. Mark is off. Well, the latest restrictions were set to expire December 14th. Now they've been extended until January 4th. So let's head over to the wall to break down what these now a third round of restrictions means for you and for businesses all across the state of Washington. So first off, the basic gist is everything you do right now, you still won't be able to do for at least another month. So here are three things you need to know. The governor cited high hospitalizations and concern for the ICU beds as a reason behind the extension. Businesses across Washington can apply for up to $20,000 in aid, and the state's travel advisory remains in place for all non-essential travel. Meanwhile, as those extended restrictions come into play, restaurants will be hit especially hard. Calico Kitchen has been in business in Spokane now for 17 years. Owner Charlie Baziotis has been closed under these current restrictions, and he's had to let go of 30 employees. But among all of this, he says he hasn't lost any hope. He says he's been in contact with his employees, and at this point, all he can be is hopeful for the future.
You know, I don't want to be afraid, and I will not be afraid of COVID-19 or what it can do to us. We have a higher power that's taking care of us, and it's really a no-brainer for us. We're going to work as hard as we can, and we're going to help as many people as we can, first with our staff and then into our community.
And I do sit down with Charlie for a full interview, which will air early next week. Be sure to watch out for that. But in the meantime, Calico Kitchen will now open for takeout services. And of course, support local if you can. And we understand this is a lot of information. So for more details on these extended restrictions, you can text the word restrictions to 509-448-2000. Now to tracking the coronavirus. New tonight, one employee at the Spokane Veterans Home has tested positive for COVID-19. 30 employees have tested positive at the facility so far. Meanwhile, a total of 47 residents have tested positive. The last case was reported back on October 3rd. And Spokane County marks nearly 700 new cases today. 692 cases were reported along with 5 deaths. 128 people are hospitalized. A little more than 61% of patients in the county have recovered. Now, officials say today's data was impacted by the outbreak at the Airway Heights Correction Center. They estimate at least 238 of those cases are connected. In the meantime, there are now several active outbreaks in eastern Washington jails and prisons. So here are the latest updates. Now, a new outbreak has been reported at the Okanogan County Jail. 11 inmates there have tested positive. Airway Heights reporting 671 cumulative cases, and that's the most in any in the state. At Geiger Corrections, 52 inmates have tested positive, and the Spokane County Jail now with 10 active cases there. Well, as positive cases of the coronavirus rise in Spokane County, local business owners are feeling that financial burden of COVID shutdowns. There are some that have even overcome personal battles with the virus. KREM 2's Brandon T. Jones explains.
COVID-19 has affected Lucy Gladhart in more than one way.
I always thought, you'd have a fever and cough and, sore throat, that type of thing.
Over the last 25 years, she's been the president and CEO of Critter Cookies in Deer Park. They manufacture snack pack animal treats. As a local business owner, she's used to adversity, but her most recent challenge has tested her in ways she's never experienced before.
Diarrhea, vomiting, nausea.
Lucy recently overcame a bout with the coronavirus. Her symptoms were mostly gastrointestinal, suffering sharp stomach pains, along with a serious headache, muscle weakness, and fatigue. According to the CDC, what she experienced is a part of a long list of potential problems from the virus.
So right now, it's really hard to catch up on everything, having a small business and going through the COVID. So it wasn't just me, my husband had it too.
Buying ingredients was difficult when the pandemic first began. Although her business actually saw a boost in demand, supplies began to drop. While she had the virus, the bakery had to close for 2 weeks. Overall, the year has been full of highs and lows.
But I certainly advise wearing the masks everywhere you go, even around family members that don't live by you.
Now that she's getting back to her regular schedule, there's still moments where Lucy doesn't feel like her normal self. Before COVID, there were no problems with her energy or health for that matter. Currently, there are moments where she has to sit down to make sure she doesn't overexert herself. She's hopeful that will all go away soon. While waiting, she wants people to understand how the virus impacts people in different ways.
Just be aware that there is other symptoms that you could possibly have.
From Spokane County, Brandon T. Jones, KREM 2 News.
All right, switching gears to weather now. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Well, temperatures really stayed near that freezing line across the inland northwest, and also the sunset was so early this afternoon. 3:50, was it 7, Thomas?
You got it right on the nose.
Wow, I mean, that was really early. I remember going outside for a minute, saw a little bit of daylight, and then I went back in and then went out and it was dark.
Exactly.
So how is it looking for the rest of this
Yeah,
evening?
unfortunately, actually a few people had commented on my Facebook page that it's like, I barely even saw the sun today. So
Yeah.
it might as well have set at 2 o'clock as far as we know. Unfortunately, we're not going to see much sun throughout the course of this week. But yeah, we are in those days where we get the earliest sunsets of the year. But our eyes are on Doppler radar for tonight in case we could see not just rain, but the potential for some freezing rain as well. Just little shades of green, some light rain or sprinkles across the Coeur d'Alene area and down on the Palouse. But note where there's a bit of pink, especially in Grant County near Moses Lake. That could be the wintry mix or perhaps a little bit of a freezing drizzle, if you will. Any kind of ice accumulations, even if it's just a coating, would obviously coat the road. So we just want to be cautious tonight just in case. We're at 38 degrees in Spokane. As long as we're 33 or above, anything would just fall as straight rain and should not be a problem. But we'll be watching that for tonight. You see Othello and Ritzville currently at 30 degrees, so we are kind of hovering very close to that freezing mark line. Any precipitation falls overnight tonight. It's done by tomorrow. It'll end up being a mostly cloudy day, but our highs still in the upper 30s. Any sunshine we get will certainly be a bonus for this week because I'm tracking not just the rain and freezing rain tonight, but more fog and more wintry mix for this weekend. More on that in a few minutes.
All right, my favorite words, wintry mix. Thomas, thanks so much. Well, every day we are getting one step closer to an approved coronavirus vaccine. Coming up next, we break down when Washington State expects to get its first dose, and
having a deeper connection to the field is so important.
amid the global pandemic, students are getting inspired to join the medical field more than ever before.